Welcome to Stupid Chats, where we talk stupid at. And today we got a review on the Netflix series Beef. Now, I'm not really making this video to explain the story. If you want to know all that, go watch the show. But this review will contain some spoilers. But this is assuming you have already watched the show. So let's get into this little breakdown and how I feel about it. And just keep in mind, all this is opinionated. This is my personal opinion, and it's not facts. I've seen it, and this is just how I feel about it. And now, so we're gonna start off. All right, I like to start off with Fumi because I feel like out of all the main characters, she is the least relevant. Can't really count June as a character. She's just a kid. Like June did just play the kid role. So, but how I feel about Fumi is they did first like every character in this story. They did a real good job developing who they are, you know, and how they act, and we see a lot of dark sides of them, which I like it because it kind of make it realistic. Now, I don't like Fumi because she is manipulative, manipulative, manipulative. And like it's hard to tell if she's like a protagonist or antagonist sometimes. Like, cause we see her make decisions that just based off like what she wants. Like throughout the entire show, we see her controlling the narrative because she has such great influence on George, and that's why like you could grow to hate her in the same light because it's just like sometimes some things that she did is just like what in the world. Like you go and speak up. Okay, because what ended up happening was like she ended up speaking up about them getting a divorce or something. She said something hinting towards that, and both of them was trying to figure out what was going on. But then later on, she was like, you know what? Let me not do this because George needs you, this, that, and the other, blah blah blah. So it's like she tried to help Amy out, but it's like, whose side are you really on? It's like she's just causing random chaos for no reason. Because it would be the point of hinting on something like that, you know, and then trying to be like, oh, it was nothing. Nah, see, and that's why I don't like it. Not at all. For real, for real. George needed to man up. But I don't blame him fully because you gotta look at the situation as a whole. Because in his little backstory, his father died at an early age, and all he knew was his mother's love. So it's like I say the problem is he kind of got too used to that, like to the point where he never really thought for himself in a sense. Because the first time we see George expressing any type of independent thought was like later on in the show when he was like trying to fix the sink himself. He was like, and he was just basically talking about how good he felt because he didn't feel useless for once. And that's what I'm saying. Like you can't really blame him fully because of this of how everything happened. And then he ended up meeting Amy. Bye bye bye. She worked so hard and paid for everything. It's like he just never really got a chance to. So at the end of the day, it's like, but that's why I say like they did a real good job, developing these characters because I feel like anytime you feel like real life emotion towards a fictional character is like it's a mark of a good story, you know. And then come on, I get that chair is precious to you and your family, but they should have just sold the chair for real, for real. I mean, hey, look, no, nobody. I'm not an artist, and this, that, and the other, so I don't really know. But for real, that chair wasn't all that impressive. That chair looked basic, but it was about the monetary value of how his dad built the chair and stuff. But it's like I feel like they should have sold it, because Amy and George is married, so it's like everybody gotta do their part. You can't just be freeloading. That's not a good sign. And we see how it all ended. So, but that's how I feel about George and Fumi. But overall, there are good characters, but there are good characters that you really don't like. Can't like let's be honest. Can you really feel bad for George in all of this? Amy was coming to him for help. Yeah, I guess George was just in La La Land doing. But I'm not surprised that's how things turned out though. Because in the same light, George neglecting his wife, you got Danny and Amy who's going tick for tack. And sometimes it be those people that we end up falling for. You know, like it may be kind of toxic, but it's like at least that person is paying attention to you. And I kind of knew from the beginning, like that's how it was going to be, cause like I don't know, that's kind of like what I feel like in a lot of sense end up being a realistic love story. You end up being with the one you hate the most. You know how like little kids they used to play the game, open the gate, who you hate, that's your date. That's how it works. That's how it works. Like you see enemies become best friends and best friends become enemies. And like even with Aang, like sometimes I felt bad for her, but you realize like she is crazy. And first of all, I don't feel bad for no character in the story because, in a sense, everybody had their hand in making all of this just a terrible situation. Like, so Amy just full of secrets. Like, I I see why George said it felt like he didn't know who she was because he really didn't for real, for real. They really didn't know each other. Cause how you gonna be married to somebody and I know that they like to masturbate with a gun? I mean, if I'm gonna be married to you, that's something I need to know. Like, we need to figure out what we're doing here. Do I need to grab my katana too? But one thing that really threw me off about Amy is when they were showing the flashbacks and she was like younger, just sleeping around with everybody. I feel like that really plays an important role because with her, it's like she have the opposite story of Danny for real, for real. Like Danny, he's on the come up. For her, she already was there, but we learn more that success is just a facade. Like Amy is just really messed up. But it's like she did have a hard life. She don't even talk to her parents. So you can only imagine how that be. You don't talk to your parents. You married, but your husband not really paying attention to you. And so in this world, she meets Danny, who they got into the road rage incident, and I felt like the fact that they kept going tick for tat, they realized through it all, like this person really care about me. In a way, I guess you have to go through something to understand because I get like how it happened, but if you never like had an enemy you end up catching feelings for or something like that, like then you wouldn't understand like the passion between the two. And like I see a lot of myself in Danny to be honest. He's probably my favorite character. But some parts I really I don't know, like if I had to describe myself, I'm more like a mix between Danny and his brother Paul. Like I'm like right in between them two, like because I don't believe in holding others back just so I can feel better for myself, and that's why, like, even though he's the most relatable character to me, probably my most favorite, I also have that strong dislike because it's like he hid his brother's college letters just so his brother could just be with him, so he could look after it, remain, stay in that big brother. Me, I don't have a problem with letting go. If that's what you want to do, bro, I'll bring the letters to you, open them for you, and tell you to go. But we see like he works hard. Danny works hard and gets the least bit of reward. Like, but that's what I say. Cause like things never going his way. Like things just always end up becoming worse. he don't really have much. He's trying to find a job, but nobody really, just a hard working. But he got a good heart though, you know. But not really good with women. Just so and like sometimes like I see myself in him, but sometimes I'll be like, I'm like Paul. Then we got Paul, who's the opposite. He's more of an independent thinker. Dream. Dreams of being rich, wanting crypto. All of that, but don't really want to work for it. So and Paul, he's better with women than his brother Danny. So it's like I feel like with these two, it represents like the generation split because now we see a generation where less and less people want to work versus you know somebody like 90s or something who's more used to that work mentality. And Amy, I feel like she represents how a lot of modern day women are too. I feel like all these characters' personality is modern, like it reflects modern times. But that's why I say I'm like like I'm a mix between Paul and Danny. But that part when we thought Paul got shot, I knew he didn't get shot because he didn't see the body or nothing. So, but overall, like I like the show. The story was told in a way that was easy to understand, has a good flow, good character development, background stories, all of that. Oh. I forgot another character, Isaac Cho. Now, how I feel about Isaac, he's definitely the plug, but that's why I look. But that's why, and also in being the plug, he was also the one with the anger issues. You can't be the plug and have anger issues. Normally, the hot headed ones, somebody else, But and I'm not surprised that that's how it ended for him because at the end of the day, Danny knew his cousin was a threat to him, and that's why I'm saying like you should never want anybody to be afraid of you because if somebody is afraid of you, they're gonna off you the first chance they get, is, and that's because they scared. Think about how like a scared animal will attack just because it's scared. So, and by Isaac being, somewhat of a hothead, Danny can't fight. Danny ain't trying to kill him. So Danny did the only thing he knew how. Set him up and get Isaac out the way. It's messed up. But at the same time, like I said, everybody did something to themselves. But Danny was supposed to pay back. I think he did pay it back. I think he did. But but still, like, you only gonna push people around for so long before they get tired of it and try to do something back. So I'm not surprised. But Danny definitely didn't have to do that. Not at all. Like, come on. Getting your cousin locked up like that and hiding your brother's college letters. And I feel like this is why him and Amy gets along so well, because they're two people that nobody could just love. Everybody in the show could love each other, but nobody could love those two characters except for each other. Like, George got tired of her. Her mom, she stopped talking to her parents. She don't really like George's mom. June don't really like her. And then with Danny, he got his cousin locked up. His brother don't want to talk to him no more. He feel ashamed that he feel like he failed his parents. But the thing is, he burned down his own house though, which is crazy. And then blamed it on her just so he could send his brother off to do all kinds of crazy stuff just to entertain the beef. He gave it up for the beef and found love. That's what happened. And I think at the end of the show, both of them realized they both sacrificed so much for this that they might as well just go ahead and be together. Like, ain't nobody sacrificing them for these characters, but so it's like, but I really recommend the show. Like, out of a 10, I give it a strong 8.5. It is really worth checking out. Remember, it's Beef on Netflix, so check it out, and we'll get back with some more videos later.